everyone, it's Mary from PsychicSoulmateReading.com, and today is our day for our weekly reading, and I'm going to be using two different decks, Conscience Spirit and Crystal Oracle. Okay, so before we begin, let's just gather our thoughts and take a nice deep breath in and calling onto a higher power, calling onto God, Jesus, archangels, ascended masters, and saints. Give us a message that we need to know for our highest good. Okay, so I'm shuffling with that intention. Okay, and the card that came up is Rhoda Cross-Sight. It's a good card. And then you gotta love the back of these cards of Conscience Spirit. I just love the back. Okay, and the card that fell out, okay, is Solar Plex Chakra, which is interesting. Okay, so Rhoda Cross-Sight is a love stone. It represents to have compassion for the other person. What it's telling you is not to put blame on another person. Look at the person with compassion. If something is going on in your life right now that just feels like there's a conflict, as though you can't get your point across, and no matter what you say is not going through, and you know, like it's just things are not connecting. It tells us to not to blame another person for something that's going on in your life. Say for instance, if there's things that are happening in your life right now that just seem like they're a challenge, and it seems like it's the other person's fault, but actually it's beyond the person's capabilities. Perhaps maybe the person seems to be a bit negative, you know. Have compassion, because a lot of times the person is feeling negative because they're having a bad day. Okay, so when I say they're having a bad day, they could be having a bad week, they could be having a bad month, they could be having a bad, like they came from a terrible life, they came from a lot of abuse, or whatever the situation is, or the hurt that they've been through recently, or whatever that is. That's all ego and made up stories and energies that are not a part of you, and it's really your job is to stay calm and to have compassion. Look at the person as they were once a baby and they were a child, and you know, have compassion, just forgive is what I'm trying to say. And know this one thing too, when we meet someone that has those personality traits, know that they came into our lives for a reason, because they came into our lives to actually show us something within ourselves that we need to work on. Perhaps maybe you are like, don't want to hear this, but it's something that is reflecting back onto you that you need to work on. And it's important not to judge, because these challenges come into our lives for a reason, and people come into our lives for a reason. It's not coincidence. And so if you're having some issues with a loved one, have compassion again. I know I keep saying that over and over. That message just keeps coming really, really strong, and that is something that you need to just work on. Work on whatever it is that's going on inside you. Something that that person is triggering on inside of you. Know that it is something that you need to work on, because if that emotion wasn't inside of you to begin with, you would not have felt it. So like sometimes we think, you made me feel like this. How could you make it? No, that person only just triggered something that you had inside of you already. And it could be an insecurity, it could be a doubt. And when you have these doubts, you prevent yourself from loving fully. And it stops you from opening your heart and receiving love. And when you're connected with someone spiritually, when you have a spiritual connection, a soulmate connection, when you're having like those times when you're feeling unloved and you feel like you just feel negative and you just have those insecurity feelings, you actually push that person away. Did you know that? Like when you have fear, doubt, and self-criticism, and or you're just doubting that person, or you're just suspicious or jealous, or whatever those emotions. I'm just giving you an example. You're actually pushing that person away from you. And if you ever wonder, why is that person avoiding me? Why is he or she avoiding me? Why are they not contacting me? Or why are they just not wanting to spend any time with me? What's going on? It's because it's your own energy that you need to work on. And it's, hey, we're all meant to have love and we're all meant to be loved. It's just that we have things that we need to work on, and that person came into your life for a reason. With soulmates, we all come into each other's lives, and there's a lot of soulmates. And soulmates, there's different types, but it all boils down to one thing. They would not have came into your life for just coincidence. They come into your life for a reason. And if you're not opening yourself up to love, then you're probably not finding the right person in your life. And so it's important to work on yourself before you can actually be in a great relationship. It's important to let go of those feelings. Okay, so the second card is solar plex chakra. That's a good one. And you can see that there's a little message and a little blur on the bottom, which is, I take actions daily that awaken my personal power. And that is exactly what the solar plexus is. The solar plexus is right here. And the solar plexus represents self-power, self-control. It represents getting a grip on yourself. It's also a card of control, like for yourself. It's basically taking action. It's discipline. And a lot of times, well, all the time, I should say, we carry our emotions in here. And if when you're getting a stomach upset, or you're getting, you're feeling that pit in your stomach, like something doesn't feel right. This is your inner pendulum right here. This is, like I said before, it's like it is your inner psychic ability right here. I mean, it's here, it's a third eye, of course, but you feel it here in your pit of your stomach that something doesn't feel right. You know, when you get that feeling, well, this tells you to take action. This is also taking, like, it's taking hold of your life. And also, you know what? The solar plexus also is gaining your inner power. Sometimes we think somebody can make us happy. Sometimes we think that thing is all we need to be happy. What is it that you feel that you need right now in your life to be happy? Does that person really gonna make me happy if they're living with me, or if they're in my life, or if I can have that thing, if I have enough money in the bank, if I lose X amount of weight? No. Sure, those things are great to have. It's amazing when you find the love of your life. It's amazing when you do major accomplishments, and when you have all the things that you ever want and need. Sure, but that is not what you're made out of. That is not what's going to make you truly happy. What makes you truly happy is being in the moment and surrendering all of those feelings of trying to control things to be a certain way, because the more you push it away. I mean, the more you push to try to bring it to you, the more you push it away. Not to say it's not good to work for it, but some of us, we can get addicted, and we can get obsessed, and you know what? I'm just speaking from experience, okay? And it happens to the best of us. It really does. And so it's just important to put the power into yourself and just not allow things to get the best of you. Like, just not to allow things to take all control of you, because the more you do that, the more you're going to be sucked into it, and the more it's going to take you into more, it's going to dominate you. And that's the whole thing. It's about just getting control of your life and having compassion for yourself, loving yourself. It's all about love, self-love. And, read a good book, stay in bed and just read a good book. And it's all about just taking time out and just doing something nice for yourself, pamper yourself, and just be less harsh on you. Like, don't criticize yourself so much. It's all good. So what you need to do is just speak your truth with grace. If you have to get something out to somebody and talk to them, have a conversation. If something's bothering you and you don't like it, what that person said to you, have a conversation with that person, or write a letter, and you don't have to send it out. You can just journal or you can burn it. Like what I usually like to do is write a letter and then just burn it or get rid of it, shred it, and just, you know, let it go with the dust. And when you do that, you actually get it off your chest. It really helps. It helps to do that. And also, another good thing for solar plexus is it's just good to spoil yourself a little bit. Not to be self-indulgent, but just to spoil yourself. Self-love, self-care, you know, do something that your future self will thank you later. And it's all good, because what this all leads to is perfect health, perfect love, and happiness, you know. So have yourself a beautiful day, everyone. Namaste.